So now I think we're going to continue going kind of bottom up. So now that users can edit a task, I think we're going to move over users can edit a user story. Let's start working on this one. Okay, so we want to add an edit icon button next to the user story name and next to the description. Okay, and then change those in editable inputs, and then on change and on. Well, I have on press enter. I think I'm gonna do like on click of the checkbox because we're kind of changing how we're doing that. But let's go ahead and open one up. So basically what we want to do is we want to make this user story name editable and the description here. All right, so we got to find where we have those. So we're not in tasks anymore. We are in user story details accordion. Okay, and so here we want this text, and we don't want that editable, but we want the name editable, and then where is my description? Open. Oh, and then here's my description. Okay, so I'm going to return to my task box so I can remember how I did this. Okay, so here is going to be my input, and it looks like we're just doing update name. So let's just start one by one. Okay, so I'm going to add a state for update story name, set update story name. And I'm going to use state, and we're going to start with false. Okay, then we are going to add here, we're going to say update story name. Okay, if update story name is true, then we're going to do our input. Otherwise, we're going to do our text element. Okay. So then we want to have a state for story name, set story name, use state, and then we're going to use the state initially that's passed in name. So the value is going to be story name. Okay, let's import our input. All right, and then we also want an onChange function. So I'm going to see if we can get an easy onChange function, and we can. So let's return, and we are going to onChange set story name. Okay, so now, all right, we don't have anything because we don't have the edit button that does it. So let's go back to our task box to get the edit button. All right, and we are just going to copy the whole thing. All right, so we want it in front of the status. All right, and then we're going to say update story name. Let's import these. I don't know why they never know to import them. Little annoying, but that's all right. Okay, update. We don't have this function yet, so we're just going to leave this blank. And on click edit, let's go and look at what on click edit does. Okay, so it just toggles. Set update story name, the opposite of update story name. Okay, so now let's go ahead and open it up. Oh, look, that already looks good. Okay, perfect. I'm trying to think here because what do I want? Do I want it to open? I think I probably, let's look at what it looks like in the design. Okay, so it looks like even when it's closed, you're able to edit, but you can see that when here, let's refresh the page. I'm gonna do one with just one user story. So when I click edit, it's gonna open up the accordion as well, because we're clicking on the accordion button and we're clicking on the icon button. So I'm curious if we want to, all right, I think I'm gonna leave that as a make it better type of task because I think it's gonna take me some investigation to figure out. All right, yeah, we'll look into it. Let's kind of clean this up and make it work first, and then we will figure out if we want to make it better. Okay. So we want to have now our, okay, so I need to do my function to actually update the task. Okay, so I'm going to condense this guy and I'm going to copy it and then I'm going to edit it over here to make it update story. All right, so update story. Okay, so field is going to either be name or description. Okay. Value is going to be string. Okay, perfect. So then we're going to say if story name is blank. Okay, now let's add our toast here. Const toast is equal to use toast. Okay, we'll have an error and then it will say please enter a valid user story name. All right, and then we are going to set story name back to name, the name that was passed in, and return. All right, so this is our, if this is like our validation, our data validation for the story name. Okay, if the story name is valid, okay, then we are going to get the token from local storage. All right, and we are going to send a request to update story. And we are going to send the field the value, and then we're going to send the user story ID. I think we're probably gonna have to call this update user story. And we are going to send that user story ID, which already exists. It exists under the same name, so we can just put it like that, okay? So then the response, okay, I don't know what we're doing with the response yet, but we do want to set update story name to false. And I am going to just console log the response.data. Okay. Alrighty. Looks like navigate we need to import to using the hook. So we want to say const navigate equals use navigate. And so that will, if we are unauthorized, it is likely because our session expired, so please log in again. Otherwise, there's going to be an error updating your user story. Please try again. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and try it. So I'm gonna click on that. All right, I'm going to change it to user story 1, and then I'm going to click check. Okay. So now we need to hook it up because it's not hooked up. So on click, we are going to update story, and then we are going to pass in, the field is going to be name, and the value is going to be story name. Okay, so now let's click check, and we get an error because there's no route on the back end. All right. So let's go ahead and look at the back end and create that route and then console log that data that we sent in. Okay. So we're going to go to our auth controller. I'm going to copy my update task because my update user story is going to be pretty similar. I'm going to go ahead and find where I have the stories though and put it here. So we're going to say update user story, update user story, and then it's going to be update user story DTO, update user story DTO. We're also going to have the request, and then we are going to send that DTO to the update user story function in the auth service, and this is going to be user story DTO.field.value and then .user story ID. All right, let's go ahead and create that update story DTO. Update story DTO, and then instead of task ID, we're going to send in user story ID. Perfect. All right, let's take a look. I'm going to comment this out here, and we are going to console.log DTO. Okay, and we're going to console.log user, which is going to be rec.user.sub. Okay, so now I'm going to click the oh, did it wrong. We are going to comment out this one, and we are going to add that here. Oh, let's change the name of this. I am making typos all over the place here. Oh my goodness. Update, update, update. I'm making typos as I'm talking about making typos. Okay. Update user. All right, cool. So now you can see that we have update user story post route. So let's go ahead and click check. And my session has expired, but that's actually kind of perfect that that happened there because that shows that our error handling is working nicely. All right, so let's go ahead and go back, and we're going to edit this. We're going to say user story 1, check, and we get our DTO. That is my user ID, perfect. And then we have user story 1, user story ID. All right, that's looking pretty good to me. So let's clean up the front end a little bit before we do anything else, okay? So I don't like how this is looking right now. It's supposed to look more similar to the updating of the task button. So let's see what other buttons eventually we will have. All right, so we need a little gap in between there. So I'm trying to just look at where we're at. Okay, so we're going to have, I think in here, we're to say margin right is going to be 4. Okay, that looks good. Then we want to, let's actually edit this. Okay, we want that to be similar. Okay, so we're going to say margin right equals 4. Okay, that looks better there. Now I'm debating whether this should be 40 pixels. Okay, so I think it should be 40 pixels. So I'm gonna actually change this back to 40 pixels too. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so user story 1, click, looks good. Okay, so we are going to end the video here then, and we'll pick up with the back end work to make this work. Let's go ahead and check our tasks off. So we have an edit icon button next to the user story name. And that's pretty much all we have. Oh, and then we did create the route. All right, and we didn't do the description yet. So, all right, the next one we'll pick up, we'll go ahead and do the same thing with the description, and at some point we'll have to look into this accordion, how to not open the accordion if we click on this button. Okay, see you in the next one.